Hello one and all, welcome back to Under the Hood of Python, a guide for complete beginners. In this session, we are going to take a look at what are variables in general in any other programming language, and then what are Python variables. Followingly, we are going to take a look at how do we manipulate variables in general, how does the variable manipulation happens in any other programming language, and then we are going to take a look at manipulation of variables in Python. Let us now get started with what are variables in general. In any programming language like C or C++, variables which are defined are initialized with a specific data type. What do we mean by that? We write something called as var x int. When we write some instruction like this, the program interprets or compiles and gets understood in this way. It simply creates a variable named x, initialized with integer to hold a specific memory space for any integer value. All that means is, in the memory, there will be a space allocated for this variable x to hold integer only. So now when I say x is equal to 100, it tries to occupy that specific memory allocation with a value of 100. And now when we try to change the value of that variable to 200, all it does is simply overwrites the existing value in the memory space and increases it from 100 to 200. Fair enough. That's one of the way in which the variable assignment and manipulation happens. Let us now proceed ahead and take a look at what are Python variables. Python variables are never initialized with any specific data type. And what do we mean by that? How do we then declare and initialize a data type? Here we go. They are initialized with a specific referenced data. In the sense, when we create x is equal to 100, we don't earlier define a variable mentioning its data type. Instead, we directly mention the variable with a specific data in the memory. Now, when we write an instruction as x is equal to 100, it simply creates a Python variable named x, and now this variable named x refers or points to a specific memory location which has the value called 100. Now when a new variable is created in Python, let's say y equal to hello world, and this is not a number but it's a set of characters, then it newly creates a variable named y, and this again refers or points to a specific memory location holding the value called hello world. Let us now take a look at how do we manipulate variables in any other programming language. Here we go. In any other programming language, create a variable of specific data type. Let's say we create back again the same variable of integer data type, and let's try to assign a value which is of different data type than the initialized one. And let's see what the behavior is. Okay, we are going to initially create or declare and initialize a variable x with integer as the data type and assign a value called 100, which is a legitimate value. Here we go. Then it simply creates a variable x, initializes as an integer and holds a value 100. Now let's try to manipulate or change its value in such a way that it is of a different data type. That means we are going to assign x is equal to set of characters or string. Now what happens? It straight away errors out stating string cannot be fit inside an integer variable. So the variable in itself is a container that tries to hold only the value of integer data. If we try to push any other different data type, it just simply throws an error stating it cannot hold the value anymore. What happens in case of Python? What happens when we try to manipulate the variables of Python with different data type? Let's have a look at it. Let's try performing the same operation in Python 2. We will create a variable with name as x and directly assign a value 100. And this simply creates a variable named x, as we saw in the previous lecture or the previous slide. And it now refers to a data object with value equal to 100 present in the memory. Now, when we try to change the value of x from 100 to hello world, what it does? In Python, it no more errors for this kind of a scenario. Instead, it creates a new value in the memory with the named as hello world, and the reference shifts from value 100 to a new value called hello world for the same variable. So what happened in this case? The variable which was referring to or pointing to the value called 100 as per the previous instruction is now changing its reference to a new value called hello world independent of its previous value. Let us now try to reassign the value of x into a new data type like boolean. Let's say we make it as x is equal to true, which is one of the boolean data type which we are going to see in detail later. Now what happens in this case? Instead of overwriting the existing value in the memory like any other programming language, it now creates a new memory location with a new value called true or boolean value in the new memory location, and the variable x which was referring to the string now starts referring to the new value true or the boolean data type in the memory. Wow, that's great. Python does not, first of all, override the existing data in the memory. Second, it does not error out when we try to change the data type from one data type to another data type for the same variable. And this type of capability in Python is termed as dynamically typed language. Fair enough. What happens to the existing values in the memory like 100 and hello world? If they are no more referred by any of the variables in the program, it just simply vanishes. And this process is called as garbage collection in Python. Garbage collection is an implicit process that's triggered by Python for efficient memory management. Before we wind up this lecture, let's have a quick look at what are the different data types and structures that are available in Python. Here we go. Booleans, numbers, strings, lists, tuples, sets, and dictionaries are few of the major data types and structures that are available in Python. And one very important point to be noted here, everything is an object in Python. Okay, what do we mean by an object? We are not going to get into the details of what is an object now, but we have a lecture speaking completely about object-oriented programming in which we are going to delve into what are objects, what are classes, and how are each element in Python is an object. Okay, with this takeaway, let us complete our lecture by having a quick recap of this session. First of all, we try to understand how do we initialize variables in other programming languages and compare it with the variable declaration and initialization in Python. Followingly, we understood variables in most of the other programming languages are the containers to hold values of a specific category or data type. Whereas in case of Python, variable names are just a reference to the value present in memory. And thus, we got to know why Python is termed as dynamically typed language. And because of this nature in Python, any variable can change its data type anytime in the program. Up next, we are going to take a look at the details of different data types in Python. Till then, take care of yourself, have a nice time, see you in the next lecture.